What is going on, everybody? DjMines here. Today we are reviewing the best home miner for Kaspa. They're going to talk about the pros, the cons, should you buy this, would I recommend this, how hot this sucker is, what is the noise level, everything you need to know as a home miner. And I do want to give a special shout out to both Goldshell and Crypto Miner Bros for making this video possible, for believing in me and giving the small guy a chance at this ASIC. This thing is incredible. Now I know it's probably sold out over there on Goldshell, but you can check it out on Crypto Miner Bros. Please use code DjMines to save $50 on your next order. All right, so the top two at-home miners, the KS0 Pro versus the KA Box. I hear this all the time. DJ, which one should I buy, man? This one's super cheap. This one's way too expensive. Let's talk about the pros and the cons. Now, the KS0 Pro is making about $1 a day. That's about 10 cent kilowatt. And KA Box is making about $7 every single day. So 7 times more profitable, at least at the first look at it. The hash rate is 200 gigahash. Now that is without the overclock. You can overclock it. We'll get into that in just a minute. The KA Box is 1.1 terahash, so over 5 times more powerful, somewhere between 5 and 5.5 times more powerful. And that's pretty crazy to think about. You know, you have to ask yourself, do I want a bunch of wires, a bunch of little boxes and all this inconvenience and stuff? Some people do, right? And I think maybe that's okay for some people. For me, I like having the one box, plug it in, you're done. It's really nice. Now, as far as the watts, without overclock, you're about 100 watts on the KS0 Pro, which is really appealing, actually, very, very appealing. But nobody's gonna do this, right? Nobody's gonna just do 100 watts, I think. Most people are gonna push this 200 gigahash to like 300, 350, 330. So suddenly this 100 watts where you're like, oh, that's way less wattage, it actually goes up about 50% overall. So yeah, when you start looking at the KA Box having a total of 400 watts, now I have seen people get 390 watts, 410 watts, but it's pretty safe to say it's around 400 watts. And when this sucker gets overclocked, this KS0 Pro, you're probably looking at like 600 watts. So again, 50% increase over time. Is it gonna add up for you? You gotta make that decision for yourself. The price right now at Crypto Miner Bros is $750 for a KS0 Pro. Now, yes, I did put in the 350 there, which was from Ice River, which was a pretty good deal, to be honest with you, at the time, but they're sold out. You're not gonna get them for that price. The realistic price is somewhere between 700, 750, something in that ballpark if you search around, but it is, you know, shipped to your door, tariffs included, everything. Unfortunately, can't really use 350 price. The price for the KA Box has gone up significantly. If you got the first batch from Goldshell, I think it was about $1,600 or $1,700 for your KA Box. That was a great deal. And now all of a sudden it's $2,600, and now I'm getting more and more people asking about it. Should I get it, right? This is the supply and demand of it. The first batch came out from Goldshell cheap, and now everybody else got to make their money. Even Goldshell, when they launch it again, it's going to be a lot more money. So did you get that first batch? Probably not. I think it was sold out in under a minute or like 30 seconds or something. So realistically, you know, where can you get 5.5 of these KS0 Pros? It's going to cost you about $3,750, again, at a more inflated price. And if you could have got the KS0 Pro from Ice River for $350, now that wouldn't have included tariffs in this price. It would have been a little under $2,000, which still would have been more expensive than the initial launch of the KA Box. Okay, so real quick, we're gonna do a little sound test. Let's see how loud this sucker is. So you can see it's in the mid 60s from the exhaust side. Spoiler alert, it's not very loud at all. And now let's do a test from the intake side. It seems to be about the same, around 65 decibels. And here you can see how many watts we are using. Again, around 418. It does kind of fluctuate a little bit, but somewhere around 410, 420 in that area. Now, as far as heat, I gotta say, it's certainly putting out some heat. Like, you wouldn't want to sit right next to this. I mean, my computer's right over there. It's not been an issue for me. To be fair though, it's not like August or something, or July, but to the touch, I remember watching Red Panda's video. He said this thing was like frying.
Whew, that is too hot for my liking. I am not happy about that. Hardware errors on some of the chips. So maybe, just maybe, I need to re-thermal paste this. Yeah, you know what? I may re-thermal paste it if, you know, some of these chips are maybe overheating. There needs to be a mod. We need the mod. All right, Meter Box, if you're watching this, we're gonna need a secondary fan, probably both fans on each side to keep this thing cool somehow.
My hand's been on it for a while. don't really feel it that much, like to the touch. It's not bad. I mean, obviously it's warm, right? Like it's certainly warm. It's advertised somewhere around 60, 62 degrees Celsius. And I have to say, when I actually look it up on the program itself, it is way above that. It's around 80 to 82 degrees Celsius. So certainly it's very, very hot, but it's not quite the temperature that it was advertised by any means. All right, so now that we're at the computer, let's talk about the good stuff. Are we getting what we are supposed to be getting? The answer is yes, actually slightly above. We're getting on the 24-hour 1.13 gigahash. As advertised, it's supposed to be around 1.11 terahash. So on the actual miner, yes, we are hitting that. We are far exceeding that. The temperature shown right here is 81 degrees, 81.7. That is, like I said, not what is advertised at all. It's supposed to be around 61 degrees Celsius, so way above that for sure. My ambient temperatures, like I said, are kind of in the 60s, maybe up to 70s, and that's Fahrenheit. So yeah, not an ambient temperature issue by any means. We are getting what we're supposed to get there. Let's look at payouts. So far, we've made 297 Kaspa. That doesn't really apply. I think yesterday we made 56 Kaspa, and it is advertised we should get about 49. So a little bit better than expected there. So I can't complain at all. Supposed to get 50. Like I said, we got paid out 56. Now, if we actually do look at the payouts here, you can see every 2 days, or roughly every 2 days, I'm getting about 120. So, you know, you can do the math. That's actually better. We're supposed to get around 100 Kaspa. So I could not complain about getting extra Kaspa by any means. Now, if we look at the current price of Kaspa, which is about 14 cents today, 120 Kaspa is worth $16.85. If we divide $16.76 by 2, it's about $8.38. So pretty much spot on to what we're supposed to get. I'm actually at 16 cents. So for me, you know, my power is a little bit more. I'm getting about $6.37 on the actual Mine the ASIC website, but in reality, it seems like we're making a little bit more. Now, the cool thing about Kaspa mining in general is the electric rate isn't the biggest deal in the world. Whether you pay 10 cents or 14 or someone like me 16, even 20, it's not that much of a difference in the grand scheme of things, though obviously like the lower electric rates are always going to win. So I would certainly say that the KA box does pass the test of as advertisement. That's both with watts, what it's supposed to get, and in fact, I was actually getting paid a little bit more than what I'm supposed to get. If I'm supposed to get 100 coins every 2 days, I was actually getting 120. So, you know, a nice 20% increase there, though that could vary, right? Your machine could be slightly worse than mine or just getting what is advertised, but 20% extra yield over time does add up, and that's not with me overclocking it or anything. So I definitely would give a W there for this KA box. Okay, so now we got to talk about resellability, right? If we're thinking that the bull run's coming, which I think we're about to be in it, the Bitcoin halving is about 2 weeks away from now. And then after that, you know, we're going to be in 2025. Everything's going to be shooting through the moon. I wouldn't be surprised if Kaspa was at $1 or something. Which one has the best resell value? I certainly think the KA box is going to be much more desired, because by the time you get these KS0 Pros, man, I don't know. I think they'll be even better at-home miners and stuff. So the KA box at that time may not even be the best at-home miner, but it maybe only be 1 or 2 generations behind, where the KS0 Pro, you're just like, oh man, at the end of the day, you're making 50 Kaspa, or not even 50 Kaspa. I don't even know, like 13 Kaspa by then, right? In 2025, who knows, right? So either way, if you really like at-home miners, I would definitely consider this one, though, you know, is the price going to go down? I extremely doubt it. There's no reason for anybody to drop the price of these Kaspa miners, because they're the #1 selling. Every time I talk to somebody, they say Kaspa miners, Kaspa miners, Kaspa miners, right? So even if you don't personally like it, they're going to sell out. That's just the name of the game. Everybody wants Kaspa. Would not be surprised in 2025 if Kaspa was just this giant coin like it already is, but 10 times more than it is even now. At the end of the day, if I had to recommend one of these, I would actually pick the KA box over, you know, a bunch of KS0 Pros, because who wants all that wiring, man? I've seen people have like 10 KS0 Pros, man, just to try to save a buck or whatever, and I couldn't do it, man. You'd have to have this massive shelf of all this wiring, and then, you know, are your cables gonna mess up? So many points of failure. At the same time, I can understand how you're like, okay, these KA boxes run really warm, so maybe they're gonna need some kind of other fans. I've noticed that the fans aren't very loud, and they don't seem to be on full tilt. Now, maybe I'm wrong in thinking that, and the fans are on full tilt, but there's gotta be some kind of mod that we could add to this to just lower the temperatures. If we get this sucker down to the 62 degrees Celsius, that is advertised, that would be incredible. My ambient temperatures right now are about 68 to 70 degrees Fahrenheit, so it's not warm in here at all. In the summer, I certainly think it's gonna give you a little bit of issues. You're gonna wanna figure something out with some kind of fan. All in all, is it the best deal in the whole world? Not really, it's not the best deal. Do you get your money out of it? You do, right? So it pretty much makes what it's supposed to make. It's not a steal, it's not a home run, but I have to say I will give Goldshell some credit for this one, because some of the other Goldshell models that have come out, like the Mini Doge 3, I was kind of like, why is this coming out? It didn't really make sense at the time, but the KA box is relevant. People love Kaspa, and it's way better than the KS0 Pro, significantly less watts, like 50% less watts, 5 times the performance without overclock, of course. So very impressive unit. I like it, and I love that it's very small. So if you guys like this video, please do put in hashtag Kaspa. Hashtag Kaspa. Let me know what your favorite thing was from this video. Please like it, consider subscribing, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. DjMines signing out.